Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to construct a box and whisker plot using a TI-84 Plus graphing calculator. I'm going to use the differences in the game scores calculated here from the Florida Gator season in 2008. Your teacher will provide you with this information so you can work along with me. Okay, now you need to get these differences that are calculated for you into your calculator. So how you're going to do that is, well, turn your calculator on. You can press second quit to get to the home screen and it should be clear. Okay, now if you go to Stat, which is the second button in the third column, and then Edit is your first option, so you want to press Enter on that. You want to enter data into List 1. As you see, I already have data into List 1, so I need to clear that out. So I'm going to do that by going back to Stat, and then Clear List is number 4. So I want to scroll down to number 4 using the scroll keys, press Enter. Okay, and I want to clear List 1 or L1. So I'm going to get a second, which is the blue button, and then the number 1. And you see I'm clearing List 1, that's right. So I press Enter and it says Done. And that's what you want to see. Now if you go back to Stat and Edit, you see that my List 1 is now cleared. So now I want to enter these data points into that list. So I'll start with the first one, which is 46. So if I press 46, you see it shows up on the bottom of the screen. And then if you press Enter, it goes into your list. Okay, now I'll try the second point, which is 23. Shows up on the bottom, and press Enter, and it appears in your list. And this will continue to happen with all of your points. Enter all of your points into your graphing calculator now. Once you've entered all your data points, I would suggest that you count the number of data points that you were supposed to enter and the number of data points you actually entered, and make sure the numbers match. So you should have, with this data set, you should have 14 points in your L1. If you don't, you need to run through and see which one you missed or which one you entered twice. Okay, so now that we have our data in there, we can actually calculate the 5 important points: your minimum, your maximum, your upper and lower quartiles, and your median. Okay, so we're going to do this. First we're going to calculate the minimum, and we're going to do this by going to Second, Set. Okay, and if you scroll across the top, scrolling horizontally, you go to Math, and you see the selections here, and the first selection is your minimum. So just press Enter. Okay, and see, my minimum showed up in my list, but I don't want that. So I'm going to clear that, and I need to go to Second Quit. So you need, when you're calculating your minimum or your maximum or your median, you need to be starting on the home screen. So now I can calculate them. So if I go to Second Stat again, scroll across to Math, hit Enter for minimum. Okay, and what am I taking my minimum of? I'm taking it of List 1. So I want to do Second and 1, which is L1 again. And you're going to do that process a lot. Okay, and then I want to close my parentheses, and you see here's the parentheses, so you click that to close your parentheses, and then click Enter. Okay, so your minimum data point is -1. And I want to repeat the process of going to Math for the maximum and the median. And under Math, maximum will be your second choice and median will be your fourth. Go ahead and do that now. If you did it correctly, you should have gotten your maximum to be 58 and your median to be 30. Okay, so now I have 3 of the 5 points that I need for my box and whisker plot. The upper and lower quartiles can't be calculated by the calculator, but it's okay because you can, if you look at your list, set and go to edit, and you can look at your list, you see that the points are all in a weird order. But if you look at set again, and you go to sort A, which is the second option, and you want to sort list 1, so you go to second, L1, and I want to close my parentheses. It's done. So now when I go to stat and look at list 1, you see that they're all in order, starting from least and going to greatest. Okay, so now I can easily calculate my lower and upper quartiles just by looking at this data. Do that now. Okay, so now we want to actually create our box and whisker plot. So the first thing you want to do to create the plot is make sure nothing else would be graphed with it. So you want to go to y equals and make sure everything is cleared out of this. If it's not clear, you need to clear it yourself. Okay, and then you want to make sure your window is appropriate. So when I go to my window, you can see your minimum value is -1, and you're only using the x-axis here because box and whisker plots only cover x values. It's a one-dimensional thing. So -1 is my lowest value. And so -10 would cover that, so that's fine. And then 10 is my x max, but my highest value is 58, so I need to change that. So I'm going to change it to 60 to cover 58. And my x scale, 1 would not be a good scale for that. The scale is your interval, so I'm going to count by 5. And then for my y min and max, it doesn't really matter what they are as long as they're not both 0, eliminating your y-axis. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is. And I'll leave the scale too. Okay. So now my window is appropriate. So I want to construct the plot. Okay, so to do that, you want to go to second, and then stat plot, which is your y equals. Okay, and I'm going to construct it in the first plot. So it's already highlighted for number 1, so I just need to press enter. Okay, and first I want to turn it on, so I can press enter on the on, which is where it's flashing. Okay, and next I need to select the type. Okay, so right now it's selected for some kind of line graph. The second one is also a line graph, and then a bar graph. And this is a box plot, but it doesn't have the median. So we actually want the fifth plot there. So you press enter to select that. And you see how now you only have one variable. You have your x list because box plots only use the x-axis, and it's selected as L1, which is where your data points are, so that's good. If it's not L1, you need to change it to L1 by doing second and the number 1 on the calculator, and the frequency being 1 is fine. Okay, so now I can hit graph to look at my box plot. And you see there's your box plot. And this can be easily copied onto your piece of paper by using the 5 points that you've already calculated, the minimum, maximum, median, and upper and lower quartiles. This is also a good way to check box and whisker plots that you've personally drawn. So that's all for this video. Have fun.